We're discussing human rights and humanism right now. Human rights and humanism is the show we are going to have, and we have begun with those photos. Join us as we discuss humanism and human rights. Join us. We start differently today, showing you those photos as we prepare to discuss human rights and humanism today. That is Mbarak Bala, who is in prison for speaking his mind. The call to free Mbarak Bala, human rights abuse in Ghana. Then replay them again, as I set my studio. Replay them again, Dennis, as I set my studio. Human rights, then continue playing those photos so that it gives us the momentum. Human rights is our talk. It's better look at the screen and see the message we deliver right in front of you. We're talking about human rights, and then those slides are having a message that you can read for yourself. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you very much, Dennis, the producer, for organizing beautifully the slides, and of course for organizing the studio and making sure that we are live today, reaching to you, our dear viewers, wherever you are watching us from. My name is Kato Makasa. I'm a Ugandan lawyer and a human rights activist, currently based here in Newcastle, England, doing what I must do. And of course, I'm a team member of Humanist TV Africa, and of course, a humanist devoted to do human rights activism. Now, today we are going to be talking about human rights and humanism. And of course, I want to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Dennis is always going to be putting the YouTube channel there. It is Humanist TV Africa. Please subscribe, and also please help us by helping yourself by sharing this link. Go to our Facebook page, and we're going to see Humanist TV Africa. Please share, comment. Encourage others to watch our shows. This is the only TV where you will be offended for a reason, and you like the way we offend you. I should promise you we shall offend you, but for a reason. Yeah, we shall tickle your mind for a reason. We shall not praise you for doing the wrong things. We shall not bring miracles. We are not going to give you false hope that you are going to resurrect, you are going to get free money, you are going to pray and things are going to be okay. No, we shall offend you in that sense. I assure you on that. We shall offend you in that sense, because we shall not tell you what you want actually to hear. We shall tell you the bitter facts about life. We shall tell you the realities. We shall expose the lies that these men and women of God do, the lies that politicians do make. We shall expose the corruption. We shall expose all the evils that happen in our continent, but also we shall be giving a way forward. We also intend to have programs that are about children, programs that are about mothers, elderly, and aged, schools, things to do with education curriculum in Africa. We shall talk about employment, finance, banking. We shall talk about the legal sector, the judiciary. In most of these countries, we shall talk about the coups, for example, in West Africa, French West Africa. We shall talk about so many things that you need to know. We shall talk about health issues. How do you keep yourself healthy? How do you keep yourself out of danger? How do you handle diseases? How do you get checked? Better tips, healthy tips. We shall be talking about all these things right here. Entertainment, sports, music. We shall have music programs, secular music that is informative, music on from all genres, all versions from all languages. You may be surprised to hear, to see a song from Kenya, from the Jaluo, from whatever tribes, So we shall be showcasing many of these things around Africa. Our focus is Africa. Though we shall, of course, look at the rest of the world. We shall be having shows where we talk about politics in the US, politics in the UK, and of course, whatever we talk about, we find a way how it impacts us, because these guys in Europe, these guys in the US and Asia, Chinese, Japanese, basically affect what happens back home in Africa. I'm an African and I'm proud to be born in Africa. Now, today we are going to be talking about humanism and human rights, and of course, I'll be joined by panelists once they are ready to join, and I'll kick it from here. Humanism. Of course, we've been discussing humanism. All of you by now know who a humanist is, know what humanism is. If you don't know, it's not a crime. Simply go back, scroll back, go to our Facebook page, go to our YouTube channel, Humanist TV Africa, go back, scroll back, scroll back. You're going to find clearly labeled topics. What is humanism? And when you go there, trust me, you will leave that 1 hour discussion when you know humanism. Now, today we're talking about human rights. Now, all of you, I will assume you know human rights. Yes, welcome, brother, comrade brother Nana.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Katu. Thank you very much.
Yes, welcome, Nana. Nana, of course, is a humanist because all of us are humanists, but also is a journalist who is based in Ghana and is live from Ghana. And today, of course, we're talking about human rights and humanism. So whoever is going to be joining the panel will be able to talk about human rights from their own understanding of human rights. And of course, we shall be talking about human rights challenges in Ghana. If there are no challenges, of course, that would be so good. We shall be hearing the good things being done in terms of protecting the rights of the citizens and non-citizens, people in Ghana. And of course, when we get other panelists from other countries, we shall be hearing from them. And I'll be also giving you my own summary of human rights. Now, I'll begin with Nana. Nana, what's your understanding of human rights?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Kato, to giving me another platform to share to the world the need for humanism. I think human rights are moral principles or norms, and these norms are certain standards of human behavior and are protected in either municipal or international law.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is it is very fundamental to the extent that it is inalienable. Yeah, and because I think it is inherent in all human beings for us to be free, for us to be happy, for us to be. So I think it is inherent, both biologically and socially. And simply because we are human beings, I think there is a need for a standard norms, rules and regulations to guide us all and to oblige all of us to undertake that task in order for the human race to progress. And regardless of one's ethnic origin, regardless of their religion, their ethnicity, their color, their location, I think human rights must be applied in equity, must be applied irrespective of states, different, irrespective of the countries you are living in. And I think human rights didn't come very early in the age of the human race, because it was just recently from, I think, after the Second World War, that the United Nations sat down together and thinking that, look, we have to get a law that will bind all of us together. Either than that, you will always be looking behind your shoulders. You will always be looking bad. You will always be suspecting your neighbor. And that goes against the wishes of human being, because we have to be free. We have to be fair. We have to be happy. As yes, I think the aim of all human beings, I think the aim of life is just to be happy. So if there are other people's planning and plotting to derail you of this path to happiness, I think it is against the ethics of reasoning, and it is also against the ethics of humanism. So, and one fundamental thing about human rights and humanism is the empathy. It's empathy and the rule of law, because with humanism focuses on empathy, and human rights also is all about empathy, because if you read, if you are able to get a copy of the Human Rights Declaration by the United Nations, you will be able to, all of them have a nuance of empathy in it, and the obligation of a person to respect the human rights is also a very important and one fundamental principle, because the human rights can be there and someone might choose not to respect it, but with the implementation of this law, I call it law because that is what we will understand it from. In the implementation of this law, it will oblige everyone, everybody, to follow or to practice or to involve themselves with this fundamental law that governs all the human race. And example of these laws, right now as we talk, human rights are being abused all over the world. Right now as we talk, in Israel, in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Ghana, human rights, people think the absence of war is peace, but it is not. And from the grounds, we are suffering. We are suffering. It is only one thing that is helping us not to go on the brink of war, not to fight. And it is our culture, our humanist culture that has been practiced. Other than that, my country, Ghana, will be among the countries at war right now, because most of the fundamental human rights here are not being respected. There is no fair trial in Ghana as we talk. Everybody knows you have to get money in order to get a good fair trial, from the police station to the law court. Even to win public sympathy, you have to get money. So that people to win public sympathy, you have to get money to pay a journalist for the journalist to take your story. If you don't have money, nobody is going to hear your story. You need to have money to pay the clerks in the law courts. You need to have money. Even reporting a case at the police station, everybody knows. It is an open secret that if you want to complain, you have to pay, and pay everybody there. When the CID comes, you have to pay the CID. You have to pay everyone. So if you don't have money, as we talk in Ghana, our human rights is just on paper. It doesn't work. Though we are protected against genocide and enslavement, because as I talk, for that one, I can argue that right now, although many of the youth are enslaved, but not on the grounds of their, it is they are part of it, because many graduates are now working under conditions which is more or less like slavery, but it is you have subjected yourself to it. You have the right to move from that place and go to a different other place, but because the options are limited, you'll be obliged to go under that sort of modern day enslavement. So I would say slavery still persists because of many factors. And free speech, as we talk, Ghana, from what I've seen and heard from other places, especially the story of my brother Mambo in Sierra Leone, I would say well, but there have been many instances where free speech has been curtailed in Ghana, because from my experience, free speech in Ghana is the freedom of you speaking is there, but the freedom of the freedom of protection after your speech has been said is not guaranteed. For that one, yes, for that one, it takes risk for us, people like us, to come outside. Although, but in the public discourse, this country is divided. So what you might be doing is for the public good, but the public might because we are divided in between political lines. We are divided in religious lines. You will be mistaken as an enemy. So even the public you have been fighting for will then tend to come back and be chasing you. So I think on paper, the fundamental human rights in Ghana is good. It is well. It is on point, but as it is not being practiced. It is not being practiced. So I think, but the right to education to Ghana have really done well. The right to education, because as we talk, our education system, most of the people have the chance to put their case in schools. Although some of the environment, our case, schooling is not much to talk about, I think it is better than none. For me, it is better than none. And the right to educate, it is Ghana, we've really done well, but I think we have to improve on the infrastructure and on the human resource in our schools, because the education is there, but what are we using to teach our case? What are we using to teach ourselves? Who are being employed to teach our case? Who are being employed to teach us? It is very important, because as I'm telling you, no public school teacher allows their children to attend public institutions. And it is funny. Why will you be a public teacher yet you won't allow your children to attend public schools?
It's because they know the children don't learn in public schools.
Yes. So it's so sad, but it is better than none, as I said earlier. If you have because it is fundamental human rights, but it is not everybody around this globe who've gotten the chance to go to school. So, Kato, I would like to end here and listen, because from the ground, you are an expert, you are a human rights activist, and from your position, and you've been globetrotting, so you are in more advanced position to tell the world facts and figures about human rights. So I will leave it here and continue to enjoy you.
No, thank you. Of course, thank you so much. But I'm saying that I and you are in the same shoes. We are equally strong human rights defenders and activists in our own rights, in our own lanes. So it's not in any way to say that you are doing less than I do. All of us are doing great work.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
having said that, I have to say that, of course, you have said very, very well about Ghana. I was in Ghana, of course, in 2014, and I observed Ghana is a very beautiful country. But of course, as many other countries in Africa, Ghana is bedeviled by challenges in regards to human rights. And of course, Ghana, one of the fast growing economies in Africa and, of course, in the world, has been bedeviled by homophobic sentiments. Of course, it's a challenge that even when I came to Ghana, I was able to meet groups and groups and groups of homosexual advocates in Ghana who told me that, Kato, we don't have any space here. We can be lynched to death. We can be killed. We are denied jobs. We are denied a right to live. And I talked with homosexual leaders in Ghana, and I was very saddened. And I documented it in my book I wrote then, but also in the book I'm going to release in December. I have documented Ghana and human rights. And of course, I'm not saying homosexuality only. Of course, there are many other areas where Ghanaians are being denied their rights. Of course, the right to employment, the right to access to better health services, the right to access to judiciary that is free of corruption, the right for to a fair hearing once you are arrested, and of course the right to choose your own leaders without being pushed around, without complaining that no, they gave Nana Akufo instead of so and so. No, our champion, our candidate was XYZ, but instead we got XYZ. You know, now Ghana is not an exception. Ghana is not an exception. In fact, Ghana is doing far better than my country, Uganda. I even first laugh that as you sit there complaining about Ghana, if I told you how
That,
many
that
Ugandans,
that that laughing was sarcastic laughing.
yeah, if I told you how many Ugandans would like to come to Ghana, you know, the grass is greener the other side. The grass is always greener the other side. Ghana may have problems, but the problems we have in Uganda, multiply your problems by 100 power 1. In fact, 100 power 10. Or whatever it is in mathematics. I used to be a mathematician at one point, but now the point I'm making here is that issues of human rights, are cross-cutting. But I go back to the definitions you gave so that our viewers can get a right perspective. Because me, on this show, I know that my sons, my daughters, my friends, and when I say my sons, everyone who is in the age of my son, who is below 20, I take them as my sons, my daughters. I know they are going to watch these shows even 10 years from now. Obasi, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Good morning,
Good morning
Comrade
to you.
Kato. Good morning, Kofu.
Yes, good morning, Obasi. Now, the reason why we do these shows, we clearly know that these shows are not for us. And I always repeat this. The shows we do here are going to be here for a long time. And with technology, some segments will be cut out, some words will be cut out, and will be shared with so many other people all over the globe. You will find your speech there I've just given about human rights. You'll find it on TikTok. You'll find it on whatever it is. So whatever we speak here, we take our time to think about it. And of course, we know that it's going to last for generations. And that's the beauty of technology. What I speak here today, that's why we don't even talk dates. If you realize, we don't talk dates, we don't talk days, because I want someone to watch this show next year as if it is done right that time. That's why on TV, we don't say today is this date, it's this day. No. Every time you watch me, I'm live. Now, going back to the definitions of human rights. And of course, I'm going to invite Council Obasi to give his take. What I'm saying in a nutshell is that violations of human rights are cross-cutting issues all over Africa. But I'm saying that Africa is not alone. Africa is not alone. The problem is that sometimes we think that we are the one who are worse off. I'm telling you, there are countries which are doing so badly than Ghana. There are countries which are doing so badly than Nigeria. There are countries doing so badly than Uganda. But sometimes we may not look beyond our fences. Look at what's happening in Gaza as we speak. And it has been happening there for the last 16 years. Gaza is under an occupation, and there's been an apartheid going on, or apartheid, as they used to call it, going on. But the entire world somehow is okay with it. And none of us is condemning the occupation. None of us is condemning cutting off of electricity, cutting off of food, cutting off of health benefits, stopping people from crossing borders.
Hello,
stopping children from, please, can you mute that noise?
Okay.
No one of us in most cases condemns the way people in Gaza are being mistreated, the fact that women don't have access to hospitals, therefore they produce like cows, they die in labor, the fact that children don't have drinking water, electricity is cut off, people are not allowed to go beyond their borders, and has been on for 16 years, but also perpetually from 1947. And people fear talk about things because when you say these things, they say, oh, you hate so and so, oh, you are anti this, oh, you are anti this. They blackmail us from speaking these facts. Yet at the same time, we hate Hamas for bombing, for killing Israelites. But at the same time, we come up and say it's wrong for IDF to come and slaughter women, children, the invalids, the sick, bombing hospitals. These are issues of human rights. But we fear to talk about them because you want to be politically right. Oh, Americans will hate me. Oh, Israelis will hate me. Oh, people will hate me. So what? People are being denied basic rights. And we keep quiet because they want to be pampered, they want to be praised, they want to get money from X and Y, Z, they want to get favors. And we get blinded from talking the reality. That look, it's wrong to hit people's houses with bombs. It's wrong to kill babies of 1 year, 1 week, 1 day. They have not done anything wrong to you. Now, these are issues of human rights, but I'm going to talk with the lawyer here. Obasi, I'm going to ask him to explain to us what are human rights from his perspective as a lawyer. Of course, you also give us a brief history of rights and, of course, take us through who gives us these rights and when these rights can be taken away. But also, as we finish, we talk about your own country, Nigeria. Give us a perspective of human rights in Nigeria. You have the floor. You have exactly 7 minutes. Continue.
Oh, thank you for having me. Hope you can hear me, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. But continue. I think there is a silence going on. You can let them go.
Yes.
You can let them go. Very good.
All right, police, whenever
Mm.
our politicians are passing,
Mm.
they go with, entourage everywhere.
That's
They
Africa. They
go with
want pomp.
escorts.
They want respect.
Okay. Okay. In a nutshell, I will say that the topic today is interested as usual, humanism and human rights. I will always appreciate my senior man, my senior counsel, Comrade Kato, for churning out interesting topics. Okay, let me start by saying that humanism and human rights are just the same thing. They are just at par. Humanism is a human-centered view of life, and humanity without certain existential entitlements, better called human rights, are nothing. It is this basic entitlement called human rights that make us humans. Without it, we are nothing. We are nothing. So that is it. Well, various authors have defined and explained what they understand by human rights. Some of them even tilt towards explaining human rights as, rights that privileges. They are not privileges. They are entitlements which accrue to us as humans. That is what I make people to understand. Human rights are not privileges. Privileges. I see privileges as things that you are not qualified to have. That is just being given to you out of empathy. But I see those definitions as wrong. I see human rights as natural entitlement by the virtue of the fact of being human. Natural entitlement that accrues to humans by the virtue of the fact that they are humans. That is what I understand by human rights. Yes, I've read a lot of human rights authors. I've read a constitutional lawyer, Ben Wabweze, Professor Ben Wabweze. I've read his view on human rights. But my personal view, as a person that I've read some of these articles, some of the books on human rights, I've come to realize that what human rights should be is natural entitlement. Natural entitlement that should accrue to humans for the basic fact that they are humans. That is human rights. That is why, though Fela Kuti, I respect him so much. Fela Kuti, a Nigerian human rights activist and singer and musician, I respect him so much. He would always say, human rights are my property. You can't give me human rights because he sang this song as a reaction to the fact that the United Nations organization that claims to bring out a human rights charter, Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, turned out to to be hypocritical, to be selective in human rights protections. So in view of this, he decided to tell the world using his music that human rights are his property. That human right is not something that can be given to him by only United Nations. No, United
Yeah.
Nations don't give us human rights.
Mm.
They only tell us what we already have. They only enlighten people on what they have that they are not exercising. But nobody can give you human rights. Human right is part of you as a human being. So that is why United Nations, for me, taken from Fela Kuti, has not been doing much. United Nations have taken a selective. They have been selective in their fight, in their pursuit of human rights. They are being hypocritical in their attitude to humanitarian and international human rights protection. Take, for instance, human rights are aware when a genocide was committed in Biafra in 1967 to 1970. They were aware of Rwanda genocide, and they are not saying anything about it. They are aware of religion-based persecution being faced by Mubarak Bala, for just saying, I don't want to be Muslim again. They are aware of this, but they are not saying anything because these people tend to be compromised in their attitude to human rights. I would define it as compromise. So come to Nigeria in paper. In paper, human rights, fundamental human right is enshrined in our constitution. Yes, before I forget, come to Africa, we have African Charter on Human and People's Ratification Laws, Ratification Charter. In Nigeria, we ratified it and it became an act known as African Charter on Human and People's Rights Ratification Act. We have it in Nigeria, in addition to Chapter 4 of the Constitution, where issues concerning human rights are fully discussed, like in Section 33, right to life; in Section 34, right to dignity of human person; in Section 35, right to personal liberty; in Section 36, right to fair hearing and fair trial; in Section 37, right to privacy; in Section 38, right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. But all these sections being mentioned, if you come to the Nigerian society, you see that there is no right to life. They can take your life because they want to enforce a deity, a God, Allah. God, that they will kill their fellow human because of a mere abstraction called God, that human being crafted as a means of frontiering their political ideology. Take, for instance, we know Islam is a political movement. Christianity is a political movement, first started by the Roman Empire, the Roman government. They started this as a political movement. So because of this political movement based deities and gods, people are ready to take away the fundamental right to live as enshrined in the Nigerian constitution. And in our law, section 1 sub 3 of the 1999 constitution will say that the constitution is the supreme law of the land, and every other laws of the federation is subordinate to it. But we see a country that has a superior law called constitution, saying that people have right to personal liberty, have right to freedom of expression, right not to be discriminated, as enshrined in section 42, right not to be discriminated, and also right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. You see such countries sanctioning, allowing religious-based persecution, allowing blasphemy law to strive. Is that a country you will say that it permits fundamental human rights in reality? No, it is just a paperwork. That is why in law, there's a difference between living law and non-living law. They have made fundamental human rights in Nigeria and some other places in Africa to become a non-living law, a passive law that is just on paper. But when you come in practice, in reality, it is not being enforced. I keep saying it. If Nigeria were to be a country that respects human rights, a person like Mubarak Bala should not be in jail for just speaking out, for just saying, I don't want to be Muslim. After all, this religion was crafted. After all, the people who received you, they didn't even kill you when you came up with Islam. They even allowed you to come up with jihad. Nobody killed you. Our people were practicing their indigenous religion. We did not tell you don't practice your religion, and you came with your foreign Islam and Christianity and Christianized and Islamized Africa, and then telling people not to speak up, not to say, I don't want to be Christian, I don't want to be Muslim. So it is in Africa. Human rights is dying in Africa. And I appreciate this topic. I will stop here for now. As we proceed, if there is still much time, we shall give figures of human rights violations in Nigeria and other African countries. Thank you.
Very good, counsel. Very good, counsel. But of course, non-lawyers, when we say counsel, we mean a lawyer. Those are titles, as you can say. You give yourselves bishop, pastor, minister, or for us, we call ourselves councils. Of course, in Europe, and of course in the US, there are different names, things to do with advocate, things to do with barrister, and of course other titles they give lawyers. Lawyers want a lot of titles, and of course, which of course we work for, because I'm a lawyer. I should also say that we need a lot to deserve these credits. Now, having said that, of course, don't get annoyed, people. It's just a way of tickling your heads a bit. Now, that is it from the lawyer, and I agree with you. Honestly, I agree with you 101%, which means I entirely agree with you. One country that has hugely disappointed me when we talk about human rights, that damned country is Nigeria. Nigeria is a textbook example of a failed state. And I'll repeat it for Nigerians. Hey, Nigerians, you are over 200 million people. You have the best resources. You have the best minerals in the world. You have oil. You have all these wealth. You have the best soils in the world. But you people, you a failed state. Just like my damned country, Uganda. We're in the same basket. Don't say that my country is better than yours. No way. Mine is a failed state, but yours is failed squared. Yeah, I read mathematics. And when I was doing economics at the university, my first degree was in economics. So I know when I say squared, I know when I say powered. Now, Nigeria, you are a failed state, just like my country, Uganda, but you are a failed state squared.
Sad indeed, sad indeed.
Yes, and I'm going to justify this basing just on your talk. Now, look at a country where you have a secular constitution. As a lawyer, it pains me that here is a country with a secular constitution, but a country that allows Islamic extremists in Kaduna, in Kano, in Katsina, whatever it is, I know the names actually in my head, in northern Nigeria, to cause havoc, to go and butcher innocent young people like Deborah, who was burnt alive simply because she sent a text message. And an innocent text message. I followed that case. I put it on my Facebook page. That was about 3 years ago. I followed Deborah's execution because it was even aired live. And this is Nigeria, where we say that this country has a people who value life. This is Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, where Christians are murdered for being Christians. This is Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, where apostates like Mustafa cannot actually identify themselves. I know many Nigerians who are my Facebook friends using pseudonyms to be able to survive in northern Nigeria. Many Nigerians up to now come to me in my inbox wanting to leave Nigeria. Come to me. I can mention names over the years. They say, "Kato help us escape this hell." And many of these Nigerians are in the northern part of Nigeria. I may mention names. I just mentioned Mustafa, who is my Facebook friend, but that's not his name. They have to use pseudonyms, pseudo accounts, so that they can be able to speak. Look, fuck Allah. They have to use pseudonyms to speak these things. And they have a right to speak. Why do you say that we don't have a right to speak our minds? That I don't have a right to say, I don't believe in Allah. I don't believe in God. I doubt there was this miracle. I doubt this guy went on a horse. Why don't you allow me have the chance to speak these things in Nigeria? I told you, Obasi, that I love Nigeria, I love Africa, but the day I will come to Nigeria, and it's coming soon, I will come to Nigeria, I will never ever go to northern Nigeria. I will never ever go to northern Nigeria. If I come to Nigeria, I will simply stay in Lagos, just around that, because that's where I may feel a bit safe. And I'll tell everyone, don't take my photos. If you take my photos, don't post them until I leave your country. That's how fearing I fear Nigeria. That's how scared I am when I talk about Nigeria. Because Nigeria, I know, they cut people's heads. I've been seeing. Linda sent me so many videos. I can't, Obasi, if I show you the videos, if I put them here, they'll ban this TV. Because they are gruesome murders. Linda sent me videos of a woman being raped after then being cut off the neck. I have a video up to now in my phone. They raped this woman. After, with videotaping, they cut her head like a goat.
Yes, that is the menace of Fulani headsmen. Fulani headsmen.
You know?
And these Fulani headsmen are equally, inspired by Islamism. Some, will I say, conspiracy theorists. I call it conspiracy theory because it has, but it seems it is true. On a prima facie note, some conspiracy theories will say that it is a form of jihad.
It is.
Yes, it's a form of jihad because what these Islamic people do is when they want to conquer people that have not yet Islamized, they come as cattle rearers. That was how the first jihad in the northern side happened. Ottoman Danfodio and his group came as cattle rearers. So that is how they do it. And funny enough, to the issue of Deborah Samuel, funny enough, no human rights lawyer in Nigeria has taken that matter pro bono. The only people you see, yes, the human right, I must say this on TV. Yes, I must. They should quote me anywhere. Some of these human rights, topmost human rights advocates in Nigeria are just cloud chasers. You come out from the beginning of your days as a human rights activist, you begin to shout, "We are here to defend human rights. Stop violating human rights." Once they use that means to get some fame, they will side with the politicians. Yes, I've been weeping. I've been in tears that ever since that young girl, Deborah Samuel. Yes, I'm a humanist. I'm not a Christian, but I do not. Let's just debate. Let's just debate. Be a Christian. Bring out your view. Be a Muslim. Bring out your view that is against my view as a humanist. Let's debate as normal humans. Do critical thinking. We don't need to kill ourselves. Yes, Deborah Samuel is a Christian. I don't. Yes, I based on my humanistic view, I'm not a Christian and I don't accept Christian views. But whenever, as a human, I still respect her dignity. So for the fact that she was gruesomely murdered with impunity still annoys me till date. And there is no human rights organization that held the murderers accountable, held the Sokoto state accountable, compelled them with a mandamus to actually give account, to actually, the police can be compelled. At least I know that there is nothing that
Yes, Obasi. Of course, we are losing a bit there, but you have made your point very clear.
for death.
And
there's nothing we can do to actually sorry, the network is bad, to actually get her back to life. But we can actually do something to serve as a deterrence that you don't invite and go scot-free. There are two persons that have been identified.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Continue.
Okay.
Continue, I can
There
hear you.
are two persons, yes, two individuals that have been identified as part of those that perpetrated that evil, that gruesome act, that dastardly act. And up to date, Sarah reporters recently reported that the police have set those people free, that they are now walking free, and that the police are not even, because they are not being prosecuted. So you see that the police, the institutions in Nigeria, even some human rights institutions, some so-called human rights institutions are complicit to these human rights violations. Because when you, in the face of evil, in the face of oppression, suppression, depression, if you don't speak up, you are complicit. That was why Soyinka wrote in one of his books, The Man Died, that a man dies when he keeps silent in the face of evil, in the face of oppression. He wrote that book in honor of the Nigerian Biafran Civil War. And that time, he, as a broadcaster, they even arrested him right in the television, in the studio, condemning war. So in Nigeria, you see some of these human rights organizations, human rights lawyers keeping quiet because, as you rightly mentioned earlier, because of things they may actually get. And we don't know. Let me borrow a word from the religious people, though it's an English word. Everything in life is vanity. Everything is vanity. Whether you build houses, marry wife, have different cars, once you die, it is one grave. If you actually choose to be buried, some persons may choose to be cremated, some persons may choose to for their body, humanists, for their body to be donated for medical science experiments. So all these things are vanity, but due to these vainglorious uh, gains, though I'm not saying that human beings should not have something that will help them to have a happy life, is an essential stuff, but we make some of these material things to replace our love for humanity. Due to what we get from the ruling party, the government, some of these human rights lawyers become complicit and keep silent. So I feel like saying more on the extent of human rights violations in Nigeria.
Please go ahead. But
Okay,
before you
that
go
is what
ahead,
okay, that is what I
before you
have
go
to say
ahead,
for now. That's
okay,
what I
thank
have
you
to
very
say
much.
for now.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I
Now,
have to say this
I
for
have
now.
to
As
add
we
this.
progress, I will say more.
Yes, I have to add this one because, of course, we are discussing human rights and humanism, and the show is not about Nigeria, but Nigeria now happens to be the one in the studio, and of course, Uganda in the studio. Now, I tell you something about Nigeria that makes me so furious. That Deborah Samuels is killed, and the entire university is aware. The students she was studying with are aware of the killers because she was killed in public. She was burnt alive in public. And you dare tell me that the Sokoto leadership could not get the murderers of a Christian student who simply wrote an innocent message because she's not a Muslim. And this was a WhatsApp message. Now you tell me, Obasi, there was a teacher in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria, a lady was teaching in northern Nigeria, and the school had, of course, northern Nigeria has like 90% Muslims. I'm just giving that figure. There may be about 70 or whatever it is. But the school where this teacher was teaching, there were many Muslims. Now she gives an exam to these students, and then she tells them, no cheating, no cheating. Now she catches a student, a female student, with a paper having answers on it. Then she confiscates the paper. The student rises up, goes out and says, haram, the teacher has thrown my Quran down. I don't know whether you have ever heard about this case, What happens is that
Yes, I've heard about these cases.
I've documented these cases I'm talking about. What happened is that this teacher, the entire school without research, incited violence, and within about 10 minutes, men from outside the school, the so-called protectors of Islam, had invaded the school and killed the teacher. You heard about that story?
Yes, I heard about it. I heard about it. It is not only religion. It is not only religion-based violence that we are facing in Nigeria. Yes, over there in the north, they are radicalized using Islam, and they kill people at random because of Islam, just to protect their so-called prophet. But over here in the south, where I come from, what leads to gruesome murder, annihilation of all kinds is witchcraft accusation and witchcraft branding because of our limited knowledge. Over here, yes, somewhere in Calabar, somewhere in Cross River, sorry, an old woman was killed for being alleged to be a witch.
Yes.
You understand? So we have, yes, over there in the north, they are facing two problems because everywhere in Africa they believe in witchcraft is rampant. So over there in north, they are facing two problems: witch hunt and religion-based execution and persecution. But over here in the south, we are also facing it, but we are facing it in form of public nuisance, denial of right to employment, and some other silent, persecution for not identifying with their faith. But the major problem we are facing here is jungle justice as a result of witchcraft accusation. A person will be accused, like I raised it the last time. And currently, 2 days ago, there is a mob action against against two persons, two Hausa persons in somewhere in Anambra State, in southeast here. They are being mobbed. They are being faced by a mob because it was alleged that they disappeared someone's penis. That is the kind of narrative we have over here in the south. And another narrative, another canker one that we face here, low mentality based canker one that we face here, is witch accusation. And I ask myself, if a witch can fly, make me be a witch. If a witch can fly, I want to be a witch so that I will not be spending money in transportation. Yes, we can actually do our first Humanist TV Africa conference, maybe in Uganda, in Nigeria. We get a place. Yes, we get a place and we can all fly to that place as witches. I don't need, I will be saving the money, and now there is fuel scarcity in Nigeria. There is hike in the price of fuel and petroleum in Nigeria. So it can even save us some fortune because we just use our yes, we just use our witchcraft and go we just use our witchcraft. Yes, travel anywhere we want. And something like that. And again, it will also help us when government becomes irresponsible and the president begins to mismanage funds. Instead of clamoring, I will just disappear to that place that they park the money, that they hold our money. I will just disappear to that place, take part of the money, use it to do charity. So I would even like to be a witch if some of the powers being ascribed to the alleged witches do exist. In fact, I want one of the witches to locate me. Yes, I come to my DM. Yes, come to my DM and yes, I will. Maybe in the next show I will give them my contact so that they can DM me and initiate me into witchcraft, so that I can have some of these powers. I can even use it to do charity. If I see any politician trying to siphon funds, I will disappear to the place that get the money, use it for charity. But you see people, because of lack of critical thinking, causing high rate of mortality rate because of beliefs that are unfounded. It happens everywhere in my society. When you want to speak up, they say that they will say that you are that Western education have destroyed your brain, and I will tell them you are saying this because you don't read. If you
Yes,
go to
exactly.
the Western world, there was a time they also persecuted alleged witches. In USA, it happened. In some part of Europe, the Western world also one time believed in the existence of witches until sound education made them to understand that people cannot be witches. People cannot people cannot be telepathetic our physical
Yes.
matter, and they began to change their view. But here, over here in my side, instead of embracing critical thinking and reading, religion has brainwashed our people that I don't think, because religion sanctions, religion encourages belief in witchcraft. If you go to Quran, it is there. If you go
Exactly.
to, yes, if you come to the Bible somewhere in Exodus 22, you will see witchcraft, that you should suffer not a witch to live.
Mm.
So when you are as an educated person, you are escaping from thinking that way, but your religion will drag you back to low mentality. So we are having some of this assault, and they make us to violate human rights in the yes. I must have to tell you, because of religiosity and belief in superstition, it is not only the government that violate people's rights. It is sometimes the people from the grassroots, because we have been indoctrinated superstitiously and religiously, and we violate people's fundamental human rights: right to dignity of human person, right to life, right to personal liberty, right to privacy. The law against gay, or the law against gay and how people should express their sexuality is an attack on people's right to privacy, because you don't go around,
Exactly.
yes, you don't go to people, you don't go and be, you know,
You
on
don't go to
put it.
people's bedrooms
Yes,
and monitor
you don't
who
go and
have
be
sex
turning
with.
on touch for people to know who they have sex with. So these are,
Yes.
instead of you to talk on issues that affect national policy, you are there legislating over how people should express their sexuality. Instead of making Africa to progress, instead of investing in technology, we leave all these essential stuffs and begin to talk about how people should conduct their privacy, or who I sleep with, who I do not sleep with. You talk about nothing. They talk about nonsense. Yes, I don't care whether I like the practice or not. I don't care. The only one I will kick against is a person that have a certain sexual orientation to force it on another person. Then it becomes rape. Then you sue the person for rape. The law says it must be consenting. Like me, I'm heterosexual. I am not
Mm.
homosexual, but as a heterosexual person, if I go and force a girl, I can be convicted for rape.
Mm.
If you are homosexual and you go and rape a fellow man, you can be sued for that. You can be convicted for rape. So whenever an affair is not based on consent, it becomes a different ball game. Then the law can come in. Then also the law should also, make it a private stuff that you cannot practice in public, because people, even as a heterosexual, you don't have sex in public in order not to corrupt children. So you do it in your privacy. So talking about all these things, we use certain things that are not worth it to violate people's life, to violate people's rights. Right to life, right to dignity of human person, right to personal liberty, right to freedom from expression. And sometimes, when because of religious sentiment, you don't you deprive people right to employment, it also affects the right to property, because when you don't have employment, you don't acquire property. You can't even acquire property. So stuff like this, we have to, we not it's not just government, but everyone in Nigeria, everyone in Africa is an accessory. Is an accessory to this human right violation. Majority of us in the grassroots, we violate people's rights, called branding them witches. Because of religion, you say, since this person is left Islam, I should kill him. Since this person is not an Islam, I should, just as they did to Deborah Samuel. There is human rights violations everywhere, both national, state, district, zonal, even in the grassroots.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to stop you there. You have had a good run there. And I'm going to walk away from Nigeria, but having just made 3 points. Number one, that you are very right to say that the problem is not only in the north, but actually the problem is also in the south. Southern Nigeria is full of people that believe in witchcraft. In the 21st century, are you dumb? How dense can you people be to believe in magic and witchcraft? To believe that someone can make your penis disappear? To believe that someone can actually teleport, that someone can be in Ghana, that someone can be in Nigeria, and he sleeps, and then he goes through air, and then he appears in Germany, he appears in London. I've read scripts, I've heard pastors speaking this nonsense. You believe that basically your pastor can simply mumbo jumbo and you get healed of cancer, of HIV, and you get miracle money. How stupid can you be? I'm not saying my counsel, of course, is humanist, but whoever watches this just know how brutal I am when I talk about these issues. Because you must be too dense to think that you will sleep. And while you sleep, you will teleport. Your body is going to move. You don't need a visa. And then all of a sudden, you wake up when we're in the US. Boom. You must be dense. In fact, you must be mad. I will show you what is written on my t-shirt so that Dennis can show you, so that you know where I come from. And this t-shirt was given to me as a gift for my birthday. Now, I don't know whether let me try to, yes. When you read what's on my t-shirt is that I feel if I'm ever murdered, feel comfort in knowing that I ran my mouth to the bitter end. If I'm ever murdered, feel comfort in knowing that I ran my mouth to the bitter end. That was my birthday t-shirt, jumper, given to me when I made 45 years. Now you can see how people love me. Someone who loves me in Scotland gave me this gift as a warning that this is who I am. It was packaged and delivered to me in England, right from Scotland, as a gift, because I speak my damn mind. And the world knows Kato Mukasa for speaking his damn mind. Now, I tell you, the people in Nigeria who are killing Christians, who are killing others because they don't believe in your Allah, you are very stupid. And actually, I don't want to apologize over that. You can report me anywhere, but I'm saying what we are doing is an act of stupidity. Anyone can cut out this message and take it to them. The radical jihadists who kill others for denouncing Allah are terrorists and stupid people. There is no way you're going to massage you and tell you are doing well when actually you are putting Nigeria and Africa backward. You are causing trouble, initiating wars, enabling imperialists to come and siphon minerals from your country, because whenever you fight, they take a chance to come and steal from Nigeria. Boko Haram is a terrorist group. Boko Haram means foreign education is bad. Boko Haram means education is bad, especially Western education is bad. That's what it means. Anyone can challenge me on that. Now, how stupid can you be to believe in an ideology which says that education is bad? Education has never been bad. It may be flawed, but all the same, you can't dismiss it completely. But Boko Haram here is a group of terrorists who are fighting for a so-called Allah. And they say that Western education is bad. And these terrorists rape women, and cut off people's necks from their bodies. And these terrorists have been at it for almost 20 years. And they want us to simply come here and we massage them, we praise them for killing people. Northern Nigeria, shame on you for forcing women to put on hijab and veils, to force women to walk without seeing where they are going, to make women be slaves when they are supposed to be free in their country. Southern Nigeria is a problem for you also. Witchcraft. Leo Igwe has been working tirelessly for the last 20 years and his team to combat witchcraft accusation. Why in this 21st century would you go and kill an innocent old man and woman, innocent child, that they are witches? Are you stupid? That this young boy is going to cause trouble to you? That you become sick because this young boy is casting spells on you? That this old woman is casting spells on you? Honestly, you, the educated ones watching me today, wherever you are, just know you are a shame to your country if you still believe that witchcraft works.
Majority of them still believe.
I've always said that if you think witchcraft works, simply tell your witch doctor, your witch magic to come and blast me right here. Right here, I can give you 10 seconds or a minute and say, okay, I'm waiting for the bomb to come. Simply do your miracle and then it comes and then boom, I'm gone. Then I will know, okay, witchcraft works. And actually, one of my friends, Bob Gogineng, an Indian secularist, gave money, put money on the table to say, if you know witchcraft works, come, we go into a room under a controlled environment, you do a witchcraft on me. If it works and it works magical, I pay you the money. The same, another man, humanist in Malawi called George Thindwa, put 1 million Malawian shillings on table and said, whoever can prove that witchcraft works, let us go on TV before cameras and make it work on me in Malawi. And for years, that man has been there. No one has ever taken it because it doesn't work. Now, I'm running away from Nigeria and witchcraft and the Boko Haram stupidity now to go and summarize other issues as we move forward. Now, I want to thank you so much because we have been talking about human rights. Of course, we have gone so much into Ghana, Nigeria, because we had Nigeria, Don said. We haven't even talked about Uganda, human rights. Our system is bogus. People are being killed in Uganda. People are being forced in exile from Uganda. People are going across the border in Kenya to go in a refugee camp called Kakuma, simply because they're homosexuals. They are running away simply because they are supporting an opposition candidate in Uganda and they were fearing for their lives. People are sleeping like rats in Kakuma, where they are suffering. Ugandans in Kakuma, in Kenya, refugee camp. People are running all over the world because their countries are no longer giving them the freedoms they deserve. Now, human rights are fundamental because human rights are guaranteed to us courtesy of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It has been there for many years, over 60 years, 70 years. That declaration has been there. We have over 30 human rights, over 30 human rights. You can actually Google it. But these rights are not given to us. We have to shout, and when we shout about it, we get arrested, we get beaten, we get silenced, we get bribed, anything can be done to you. They can either use a carrot or they can use a stick against you. People are beaten when they go to demonstrate in the streets of Uganda. In Sierra Leone, I've seen it. You have seen it in Zambia. You have seen it in, of course, Ghana, in Nigeria. People have no freedom of expression. When they have the freedom of expression, their safety is not guaranteed after speaking their mind. In Nigeria, our friend Mbak has been in prison for the last 3 years, simply because he went on Facebook to say, I don't believe in Allah. Honestly, why should we arrest someone and charge him for these heinous crimes? You put him behind bars for 24-hour years. For simply speaking his mind, he has just said a word. It is only a word. It is only his opinion. You have your opinion, you think your Allah lives. Okay, that's fine. Let your Allah live, but also let Mubarak Bala live. For him, he thinks that your Allah does not live. Being a Muslim, okay, being born in a Muslim family with a father who is an imam does not mean that the son must be a Muslim practicing. Mubarak Bala is innocently free, innocent chap. But we have put him behind bars since 2020. Now 3 years, the guy is behind bars. Why? Because he dared to speak his mind. He dared to ask questions. And you have denied him all the rights, including the right to bail, including the right to bail pending appeal. As a lawyer, I grieve. As a lawyer, I get terrified to see which stupidity is this happening in the legal system of Nigeria, where you have the supreme law, which is your constitution, which doesn't believe in the nonsense, but you allow Sharia law to override your supreme law. Which type of constitutionalism is this in Nigeria, where you allow Sharia law to supersede your constitution? The mother constitution is the supreme law of any country. How do you allow Islamists to have their say? How do you allow politics to take sway in the case of Mubarak Bala? Any lawyer will see this and say, this is madness. This country is secular. Bala has a right to speak. Just like I have a right. Just like Obasi has a right. And when I speak, it's my mind. I may be wrong. Therefore, allow me the right to be wrong. You also may be wrong. I have to allow you the right to be wrong. Let us all be wrong, but let us all live in harmony. This is my message. The moment we don't learn that as Africans, we shall continue to blame everyone else without blaming ourselves. And that's us Africans. You want to blame the West for all our problems. The West is not telling us to jail Mubarak Bala. Do they tell us to do that?
No. They don't tell us to do that.
The West is not telling us to kill our homosexuals. The West is not telling us to kill our old people, labeling them witches. The West is not telling us to donate our land and money to fake pastors. Look at what has happened in Kenya. Mackenzie's church has killed thousands of people by starving them to death. The West is not doing these things to us. We are doing bad things to ourselves. Africans, stop blaming whites. I put them in quotes. Stop blaming Caucasians and Asians for our problems. We are having dictators who steal our minerals, and then we blame everyone else for our minerals being stolen. We are having dictators who are conniving with companies elsewhere to steal from us, and then we blame the West for our problems. Now, we must start to assert ourselves as humanists. As humanists, we know that human rights are given at birth. Someone who is religious taught me in law school and told me human rights are God-given. I told him no. And he was quoting for me philosophers, Aquinas, blah, 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 as you know, lawyers. I told him, excuse me, sir, human rights are not God-given. Because his argument was that they are God-given, no one should take them away. I said, remove God from it. Human rights are not God-given. When you look at history, Hammurabi, the emperor, the king from Mesopotamia, made laws before he thought about Muhammad, before he thought about Jesus Christ. There were laws. Hammurabi, anyone can Google it. The Akkadian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire. All those empires in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, They had laws before we woke up. Africa had the Kushite Empire, the Nubians, the Egyptian, the Kemetic Empire. All these places had laws before your religions put them down. So you cannot start telling me that they are God given. Human rights, we are born with them, and we're supposed to die with our rights intact. Obasi, this one is on record. As a lawyer, you say, I am born with my rights. No one gives them to me. Therefore,
Yes.
no one has a right to take them away from me. The day my mother pushed me bam, on the ground, my rights began.
Yes.
And I'm supposed to have my rights until the day I go in the grave. That's
Yes.
why even my corpse must be respected. That's why in my constitution in Uganda, if you come and tamper with the graveyard, you will be arrested, because a corpse, a dead body, still has rights. So my rights begin the day I am born, and I'm supposed to keep them until the day I die. And even when I die, I remain with my rights of untampered graveyard.
Yes.
That's why
That
if you are going to carry out DNA on my body, if I'm dead, you must get cleared by courts of law. Because even a dead body has rights. Now, who are you to tell me that rights are God-given? Rights are not God-given. Rights are inherently given by virtue of us being human beings.
humans.
By virtue of us being humans, as we put it, we have rights. And no one should take away my right. If you take away my right, I fight to the death so that I protect my right. And it also means that I have to protect your right, including your right to insult me, including your right to disagree with me. Why do I say I don't believe in God and then say you must be honest? You are taking away my right. Let me speak, I don't believe in God. But before you say I believe in God, what's the problem? We are two people of opposite ends and we can coexist. Believe in your Allah. I say I don't believe in him, but we shake hands. What's wrong with that? We can develop our countries by shaking hands with me, an infidel, and you, a religious believer. We can perfectly live in harmony. Now, religion, what it does is to divide us. Politics divides us. And we begin assuming that politicians have the right to define our rights. In Africa, just like in the rest of the world, the biggest abuser of human rights are governments. I repeat this, the biggest abuser of human rights everywhere in the world are governments. As we speak, the governments in the West, some of them, are supporting the killing of innocent Palestinians. As we speak, and I don't care what they think about me, but as we speak, they call it self-defense, but they are killing innocent babies. They are cutting off water. They are cutting off power, which is electricity. They are destroying buildings. They are destroying hospitals, and they call it human rights. But the governments are violating rights of 2 million Palestinians as we speak. Now, human rights, no one should take them away from us. Human rights, no one ever gives me my right. No one. No one, and I repeat it, for me, you don't give me my right. If you violate it, I'll tell you, you're violating my right. You can kill me, but I'll still tell you, I have this right. Now, as Africa going forward, there is no way we're going to develop as a continent if we don't take rights seriously, including, Obasi, the right to disagree, including the right to love differently. Why would I kill someone because he likes differently? He loves differently. Why do I need to go in someone's bedroom? For heaven's sake, as we put it. If there are two men who want to do their stuff in their own bedroom. Of what role do I have in that intermarriage, in that connection? Me, everyone knows I love women. I'm heterosexual.
Me
Now,
too.
me, I love women. The other person loves men. The other person loves fellow women. Now, what do I have to do with them? If they're not interfering with my life, if they don't come in my bedroom to disturb me, why do I want to go into their bedrooms and dictate how they do their business? You say they won't produce. What's the problem? Even those who are heterosexuals like me sometimes don't produce kids. Not everyone wants to have kids. Now, the point I'm making is this. Why don't you please stay the hell out of other people's businesses? Why don't you mind what is important? Why don't you major in what is major and leave the minors? The way people have sex has nothing to do with you. Go have sex the way you want. As long as I qualify it, as Obasi put it, as long as you don't do it without the consent of the other party, and as long as the other party is above the age of consent in your country. In my country, the age of consent is 18. If I fell in love with a girl who's above 18, I have no offense I've committed. Number two, if the girl accepted that we have an affair, if I didn't force her, she accepted my proposal, we had an affair, she's above age, we are good to go. Similarly, if two men consent and go in their privacy, what the hell do you fucking government want in their bedrooms? Leave them to do whatever they want. Are they paying your taxes? Are they making progress for your country? Don't we see homosexuals in the UK where I stay right now, in the US and other countries? Don't they contribute to the development of their countries? Why is Africa so stupid to be obsessed with men and women having sex? What do you want in people's sex, we Africans? I always ask myself that question. We go to parliament to debate how to stop people from having sex. Are we so stupid? Are we so stupid as black-skinned people? Because my skin is black, look at me. My damn skin is black. But are we so stupid for being black that we mind so much to find out how people have sex and we make it an agenda for us? Don't we have other things to think about? That we are so worried when two women go and kiss themselves. We are so worried when two men kiss themselves. And we are not worried when our roads are bad. We are not worried when our hospitals don't have medicine. We are not scared when our children don't study. We are not scared when our politicians steal our monies and invest in foreign countries and take their children to have babies in Germany, in UK, in wherever. When our politicians are stealing our funds, we don't care. But how do we care? When two men are having sex. How do we care when two women are kissing? How do we care when a woman puts on a miniskirt? How do we care when a woman aborts a child? How dense are we as people in Africa? How stupid, how narrow-minded can we be? And how many times we tell Africans to wake up from stupidity that seems to be so engraved in your psyche, that we should learn to major in majors and avoid majoring in minors. That a man having sex has no problem. A man having sex does not affect the growth of our economy. This man goes to work, this man pays taxes. As long as this man is not defiling a boy who is young, of course a boy is young, as long as this man is having sex with someone who is mature, who has consented, this man should be left free. But if this man went and sodomized the boy of 15 years, 17 years, this man must be arrested. No one says that protect a man who goes and sodomizes a child. We are saying leave a man who has sex with a fellow man when they have consented. Leave a woman who has sex with a fellow woman when they have consented. This is a free world in quotes. We must live. We must learn to love each other. We must live and let live. Now, this has been my message when we talk about human rights. But of course, it's a wide spectrum. abortion. A woman has a baby, a fetus in her womb, and she feels she's not able to raise it. She feels she's not healthy to raise it. She feels she hasn't finished her education. She has a career to pursue. This kid is going to come without having food. And you people, in your stupidity, you want this woman to keep the child in her tummy, to have a child coming up to lack food, to lack education, to end up on streets. You want to have this woman forcefully keep a baby she cannot manage. Why don't we allow this woman to privately seek medical help and get rid of this fetus so that she can have her life? When she's ready to have a baby, she can have a baby. Abortion should be legal in Africa. Abortion should be allowed, just like I went to Ethiopia and I visited abortion clinics. I repeat it for you. In 2016, I went to Ethiopia and I attended the first World Abortion Conference. It had people, lawyers, advocates all over the world. I represented my country, Uganda, and I visited abortion clinics in Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopians have accepted abortion, including having abortion clinics. And because of that, many girls finish education in Ethiopia. Because of that, there is low death rate of young girls in Ethiopia because they help them abort. But they don't simply stop there. They teach them how to avoid pregnancies. Because before you abort, it means you conceived. Now, what they do is they teach them how to avoid unwanted pregnancies. But Ethiopia has a religion. Ethiopia has a culture. But they are so smart to think that, look, we shouldn't be harassing women and young girls when they get pregnant. Having a pregnancy takes a second. To get pregnant, it takes a second, not a minute. To make a woman pregnant, it takes a second. Allow this woman to remove the damn thing. Because her body is her body, not your damn body. Now, these rights are so important that when I talk about them, I'm passionate. Abortion rights. There's something to do with prostitution. Why do you harass prostitutes? Who buys these prostitutes? Who dares give them the market they deserve? Why do you attack prostitutes and you leave alone the people who are buying them? Prostitution has been there since the beginning of humanity. You cannot know how much some of these prostitutes help their own people to survive. In Uganda, I've been a lawyer for prostitutes. I've been an advocate for prostitutes. I've been in meetings with prostitutes. I've defended them. I've trained them to defend their rights. In Uganda, I've been a lawyer for homosexuals. I've visited them. I've trained them. I have multiple photos teaching prostitutes, teaching homosexuals to be safe and to defend their rights. Deal with it. Because as a lawyer, I was trained to defend the rights of people. I don't feel guilty when I tell a homosexual to defend himself. I don't feel guilty when I tell a prostitute to defend herself. She's innocent. And people go there to buy service. After all, our politicians are prostitutes too. They prostitute themselves. Whoever has the money can make them do absurdities. Why don't we expect to face challenges and accept to listen? Why should we be killing albinos in Africa? Albinos. Someone is an albino. He has less melamine, maybe, and we are killing them. Why should we be killing witches, the so-called witches who don't actually exist? We go get old women, brand them witches, kill them, and steal their land. Why should we be doing that in Africa? Why should we be having presidents, politicians that steal from us, that kill us, that rig elections? Like the dictator of Uganda, Museveni, is a dictator who has been stealing presidential elections for the last 25 years, rigging elections. Now, these are issues as Africans we must tackle. And as a humanist, I feel obliged to come out and speak these matters. And as a lawyer, as an advocate, as a trained advocate in Uganda, as a lawyer qualified in Uganda, trained in one of the best law schools, I should tell you that my role is to defend human rights at whatever cost, because that is our obligation to do. And as Obasi said, life is vanity. Sometimes some of us focus on a few things and say, the house is good, the car is good, but my ideology is the thing I want to pursue. Now, rights must be protected at whatever cost, whether it's the president leading the world and breaking the rights of people like Biden. Talk about it. Americans are so free that they will go and squeeze Biden, they will go and insult him. They have a right to insult even their president before cameras. And he will smile at them because he knows they have a right to speak up. But the president is a human being, he's annoyed too. In Africa, you don't do that. You don't simply write an article about the president, which is critical, and they won't arrest you. They will beat you, they arrest you. You cannot write a book like the book I wrote, and you think they will let you go free. The book I wrote, Stolen Legitimacy, about the dictatorship in Uganda, how Museveni has been rigging elections, how Museveni has been killing people, how Museveni has been stealing from us. Oh, this is the book. Now, when you write such books in Africa, you are in trouble. Now, even my right to write about facts, not fiction, about, say, you killed so-and-so, you killed so-and-so, you stole our properties here, you did this and this, facts with dates, with numbers. Even the facts we write, we have seen with our eyes, we are punished for writing them down. Now, where are the rights we're talking about in Africa? When a writer like myself is not free to actually write, when a journalist is not free to be a journalist, when a human rights lawyer is not free to defend people. Now, these are issues that we must address as people in Africa. There is no way we are going to develop Africa when we're on the run. There's no way we're going to develop Africa when our best brains are leaving Africa to go and work as slaves in the Middle East. When our best brains go in the West and serve the Western governments. When our best brains live and serve elsewhere and leave Africa. There's no way we're going to develop Africa when we don't create an enabling environment that makes our people love their countries. Now, that is human rights. Then I'm going to wind this up. May you please give me the slides in 5 minutes, and then we shall be done with this. Human rights is a very big topic. And as humanists, we are passionate about these rights. Then it's the slides, and then we shall be saying goodbye. The slides, Dennis, and we shall be saying goodbye. Now, the slides, look at that one. Bombing, the bombing going on in Gaza. And people want us to keep quiet. When pregnant women are being killed, babies are being killed in Gaza, they want us to keep quiet. Look at that baby burnt, child baby burnt in Gaza, a Palestinian baby killed in Gaza. Thank you for the bombs dropped on Gaza. This is a politician, Bobby Wine in Uganda. This is a guy who was burnt by CMI, by terrorists in government in Uganda. They got a flat iron and burnt him. Look at him. Now, this guy is called Mesgwa. Now, look at how this guy has been burnt by people in security agencies in Uganda. And then people don't want us to talk about these things. When you talk about the things, they say, oh, you're against government. Look at this old president. Has been in power for 37 years, and the best thing he can always do is to witch hunt homosexuals. Our roads, our hospitals are sicker than himself. These guys are homosexuals. They ran away from Uganda. They are now in the UK. They are so lucky to be in the UK. But these are Ugandans. This guy is my OB, the guy I taught for so many years, for about 6 years, is now in Kenya in a refugee camp, running for his life. And homosexuality becomes a crime in Africa. Look at that African setting where there are no roads, and people must use that bench, that wood to cross over, and they are being charged to cross. This girl is young, but has been made pregnant. Defilement becomes a problem in Africa. Our children cannot complete schools. She's pregnant, but she has been allowed actually to stay in school, which is actually a good thing. That school is in Uganda, and they allowed this pregnant girl to basically finish her education. Look at this photo. The other girl is going to sell products these girls are going to study. Now look at that disparity. These have a chance to go and study, the other one has no chance. She has to hawk products. Now, this one's future is not certain. These guys are getting a future. Look at this photo. These women have been forced to put on those clothes. And why? Because Islam says so. But look at it. Look at how uncomfortable these people are in their classes. One wonders whether they are seeing anything. Look at how they have been dressed, because that's what their religion of peace wants. Look at Mubarak Bara, my friend, who is in prison. Who is in prison for simply writing his opinion on Facebook. And Facebook always asks us what's on our mind. Mubarak Bara wrote what was in his mind and was arrested for 24 years. He has served 3. That was the campaign to free Mubarak Bara. And all over the world, people were saying free Mubarak Bara. But up to now, the government of Nigeria has refused to free Mubarak Bara. Human rights abuses in Ghana. Ghana is terrible in abusing rights, especially rights of homosexuals. Human rights abuses in Ghana. Now, Ghana was a leading democracy, but right now, as I speak, it's in terrible chaos. Sierra Leone, there's a lot of bloodshed in Sierra Leone. People are fighting. These are Sierra Leoneans running away in the capital because they are being tear gassed, they are being shot dead by the people they elected. Look at that photo. That's blood. That is blood of people. It was taken after removing the bodies. Look at that photo taken by Mambo Emmanuel, our correspondent in Sierra Leone. Look at the way people are being tear gassed, being shot dead in Sierra Leone. And we say we don't need to talk about these things? Hell no. We are going to talk about these things right here. This is Sierra Leone under siege, and these memes were made by our friend comrade Linda Tilly. These are issues of human rights. That man was shot right through the neck and he died. Neck and chest, they were trying to resuscitate him, but he died. Those are hands trying to resuscitate him. These are people being treated as slaves by the military in Morocco. Now, these are people suffering in Uganda, rounded up, arrested, beaten, shot dead by the dictatorship in Uganda. And that is Linda Till, of course, our foreign comrade who was talking about end genocide in Uganda. That is Linda Till. Her message was very clear. End genocide with Uganda. That man, Patricia Lumumba, was killed by foreign agents instigating fellow people in Congo. Why? Because Lumumba wanted to protect the rights of people in Congo. South Africa, look at it. Look at who owns the land. Who owns the land? 46%, 47%, 48% of the land owned by certain people, and others have nothing. And people say, don't talk about that. Because when you talk about it, you are bad. That one taken in apartheid South Africa many years ago, where there was segregation of people. You have to eat in this restaurant, you don't have to go there. People before profit was a very big slogan in the 1960s. Put people before profit. Right now, we consider profits. Linda wrote this one for us. Do not allow yourself to be split by religion, by race, by tribe, by gender orientation, by your country, state, region, province. We are human beings first. That was Linda Till's message. That was Linda Till's message. In a racist society, it is not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racists. That was a meme made by Linda, quoting someone else. Because South Africa is a racist state up to now. People don't want to hear this, but that is the fact. So, Obasi, I've done my part. I've concluded my part. I want you to conclude in the next 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you once again. I really appreciate. Well, my conclusion is that human right is our property. Human rights na our property. In the words of Fela Kuti, an activist. It is our property. So we should not wait for government to give us human rights, whereas they are the persons taking it away. They are part of in fact, as you rightly say, most of the human right violations are coming from the government. So we should not allow government to give us our rights. We should take it. We should enforce our rights. By always, if we go to court and they bribe the court not to give us redress, we use the media. We use other means to speak up, just as we are speaking up using Humanist TV. So those watching me, don't think because that it is being documented in the Constitution, it is just enough. This right to be taken away from you if you don't speak up, if you don't talk, if you don't try to enforce it. Yes, and I'm also calling on human rights lawyers not to forget about the gruesome murder of uh, 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 Deborah Samuel. We shouldn't let that murder go with impunity. No, we should enforce our rights so that it will serve as a warning to the people who will want to victimize people for having a divergent opinion, for having a dissenting view from the ones we have. So the take home for all the listeners, for all the viewers, for all the audience is human right is your property. So the way you promote your property, the way you promote your property, protect the way you protect your property, all those tangible properties like your clothing, your landed property, your cars, promote your human right. Protect and promote your human right that way. Protect it with everything you've got, because that is what makes you a human being. Without rights, without all these basic natural entitlements, without this existential entitlement called human rights, there is nothing like humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council. Thank you so much. Of course, lawyers in the UK are called solicitors. In Africa, we call them counsels. Thank you so much, Council Basi, for a wonderful, wonderful presentation today. And of course, thank you so much, our viewers, for being very patient with us. Thank you, Dennis Bongole, for being a very good producer for all our shows. And of course, my message is always one and simple. Do not lose hope, people in Africa. Stay steadfast, stay focused, stay going. Keep it alive, keep it hopeful, and please keep our African hope alive. See you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.